Biff, you there? Oh, okay. I just texted you. Let's do Mac at the start of this hour. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll do a little Mother's Day talk once we get back on, and while I'm doing that, you can just get Mac on the line. Is Bob waiting too? Nah, tell him I screwed up, and let's get Mac in here first. If he wants to call back at 8:30, that's okay. If he wants to, yeah. Yep, and then get Mac. It's not urgent. I'll talk for a minute before he comes on, so. Thank you.
Are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
A fresh take on local, regional, and national news. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
Still 43 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 43 degrees and raining here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 43 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. In a minute or two, we'll talk to West Virginia's Secretary of State, Mac Warner, who is really concerned about this For the People Act, the Senate Bill 1 that's pending. Going to be some hearings on it starting on Monday. We'll get Mac's objections to it coming up in just a minute. Also going to be talking about all the local news of the day with John McCabe in the next hour of the show, our regular Friday roundtable. John and I will kick around everything from the Ohio County Development Authority to some of the things going on at Wheeling City Council. A couple of other items on the sideline of the news. Jeff Bezos is ready to book a space tourist on SpaceX. Not SpaceX, that's Elon Musk's. On Bezos' new rocket flight. Would you take advantage of that space tourist ticket if you could? Would you want to go on an up and down flight into space? We'll get some of your texts in here at 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Attorneys for one of the people charged with the insurrection in the Capitol says his client suffers from Fox mania, too much Fox television. And of course, Mother's Day is coming up this weekend. So, is Mother's Day a real holiday? Or has it been created just to sell Mother's Day cards? What are you planning to do for Mother's Day? What do moms really want on their day? I got a bunch of info for you coming up a little bit later on. And we were talking earlier about long distance calls dramatically go up on Mother's Day as people try to reach out to their moms wherever they may be. 30% of the people surveyed said they talk to their mom every day. That's wonderful. Another 30% say a few times a week. Interestingly enough, only 7.5% people say it is less than once a year or never. And I just can't comprehend that. You don't talk to your mom ever? That's tough for me to believe. And when you call your mom, what do you call your mom? We talked about this a couple of days ago with grandmas. We're talking about what do we call grandmas? We had some good conversation about that. What do you call your mom? Well, the most common answer in the survey I have in front of me is mom. That makes sense, right?
If it wasn't that, I was going to say probably second would be mother.
48.5% say they call their mom mom. 10% use mother. 12% still use mommy. 10% use mama. My oldest son still calls my wife mama. Mama? Hey, mama. It's usually, mama, what have you got for food? But mama, hey, mama. 3% call their mom by their first name. And I know people who do that. I mean, I don't find that, I think that's a little unusual, but I know people who call their mom by their first name. What do you call your mom, Biff?
Either mom or mother.
Yeah. And of course, after Teddy came along, then my mom became for everybody Graham. You know, it was, I'm sorry, no, not after Teddy came along. She never did see Teddy. Once we had kids, the kids called her Graham, and then everybody's called her Graham. We would just say Graham, you know. Hi, Graham. How you doing, Graham? But it was always mom. So there you go. Most Americans call their mom mom. 12% say mommy, 10% say mother, 10% use mama, 7% use ma. I had a friend of mine, he called his mother the old ma. And he would call it to her face. Old ma? What are you fixing for dinner, old ma? It's like, geez, I don't know. That's a little much. And then I said 3% of parents, 3% of kids call their mom by their last name. Whatever you call her, please call her on Sunday for Mother's Day and maybe do something special for her. You know, the simple thing is a phone call's the easiest. A card. Flowers are okay. We'll talk a little bit later on about what they actually want for Mother's Day. The number one thing, Biffy, we've talked about before. What's the number one thing moms want? Be left alone.
Oh.
Be left alone.
Yes.
Just don't bother me. You know, say hello, say Happy Mother's Day, and then please just let me have some time to myself. So we'll talk more Mother's Day stuff coming up a little bit later on here on the show. It's 8:15, quarter after the hour. Let me welcome to the show our Secretary of State in West Virginia, Mac Warner. Mac, good morning. Welcome to Friday.
Good morning. Great to be with you. And I love your advice about getting hold of your mother.
Yeah, you know, my mom is gone now, and I often think, did I spend enough time with her in the end, especially? I think everybody goes through that, you know, wondering if you somehow you always seem too busy. I don't want to get too philosophical here, Mac, but somehow you always seem too busy, and then you realize, you know, now you can't be busy.
Yeah, that time's gone. And the thing I just resent that I never. Well, we did a little bit, but pulling all the information out of it, from her high school friends to the people that she spent time with in college, and then the relatives who lived where and that sort of thing. Once those people passed, then that if you didn't get it while they were alive, you lost it. So take advantage of it. If you still have your mother around, take advantage of it. So.
And pay attention to her. Your point is very, very well taken. You know, my mom passed, and then shortly after her sister passed, who was also a mother figure in our life, and was kind of like the last connection to that generation of our family. And now sometimes I stop and I think, wait a minute, who was married to whom, or what happened? I didn't pay enough attention, and I'm the last connection now to that, and I don't know enough. Thank God for my own wife, who paid more attention than I did, who can reconstruct some of the family dynamics. But yeah, not only should you spend time with your mom, listen to her and pay attention to what she has to say, not just for her wisdom, but for her historical knowledge as well. But
yesterday I got to spend a little time with Woody Williams, Medal of Honor winner from World War II, and he's spending his remaining years honoring the Gold Star families. These are families that have lost members in their service to their country. And what he's focused on is those things like the mother, the sister, the person back home who, or the father, brother, whomever, that has lost somebody overseas or on a military deployment. And we always think about, we've got Memorial Day coming up, thinking about those who were lost in service of the country. But do we think about those family members back home? And those deployments can be just as painful to them as it is to the service members. So that's what I really respect about Woody and how he's spending his life here, paying tribute to those. And I think it ties right into what we're talking about with Mother's Day and spending time with people and listening to those experiences, because they are just as powerful as the ones where when somebody's on deployment, that soldier knows whether they're in harm's way or not. The folks back home, they're thinking constantly that this one's in harm's way, and the worry. My daughter just went through something down at Fort Bragg where this was a year or two ago when 4 soldiers were killed in North Africa, and her husband's in Special Forces. She said every wife was at the window watching those green vans roll down the street, and that just praying that they wouldn't stop at their house, because that would be the bad news. And so we don't think about those, and that's what some of our mothers have gone through with people. And it's not just deployment to military, but whenever somebody leaves home, even to college and that sort of thing, they're worried about their offspring, and we need to be tied into that, because now we're in those shoes. We're sending our sons and daughters off, so take advantage of it while you have them.
Yeah, it's a great point. We have one of the kids that my kids grew up with here in the neighborhood, lived right across the street from us, was killed in service a couple of years ago. And boy, it hits home, I mean, not our family, but our extended family. And how hard it hit his mom and dad in particular. They both have passed since now, but those are really good, all really good, somewhat depressing, but all really good things for us to point out. Mac, before I change off from were you in Afghanistan? I can't remember.
I spent 5 years in Afghanistan, and I had a son and daughter who both deployed to Afghanistan. And I've got a niece there right now. So yes.
Without getting into politics of it, I'm curious, real fast, what do you think about the Biden's proposal to be out by September 11th?
Well, I thought we should have left right after we got us home bin Laden. Without a clearly stated mission or objective supported by the majority of Congress, there's no reason to just be over there keeping a presence. Now, the defined mission, was that we're going to fight them over there and not over here, suppress their support of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and that sort of thing. So those were laudable goals, but you needed to, the resolution that sent us there was done 20 years ago. And at some point you need to revisit that. Now, like I said, after we got us home bin Laden, they either needed to redefine that mission and vote on it or get us out of there. So there's not a good answer. Is it the right move to come out or the right time if you haven't defined the mission? And I don't think that was ever clearly done in an open session at Congress where it could be debated and so forth. I'm a strong believer that you need to, if we're going to send people into harm's way, make the declaration, define the mission, and then let's go get it done and get out of there.
Yeah, I've just never understood, as an outsider looking in, that's why I wanted your perspective as a member of the military. I've just never understood quite what we were doing over there. I got the reason to go, and certainly if ever there was a moment to say, now we've done it, it was when bin Laden was killed. I just have never quite figured out what the ultimate exit strategy was. So I think we're probably making the right move in getting out, but we'll have to see. I just wanted your take on that since I had you on the line. Let me shift gears here, Mac. Secretary of State Mac Warner with us here this morning on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 8:21, 43 rainy degrees. Mac, I think you were among those who, while you felt West Virginia's elections went off well, did raise some concerns about elections elsewhere in the country. You thought there were some potential problems. With that in mind, why are you so opposed to trying to fix those problems with the For the People Act?
Well, that doesn't fix anything. That complicates things much. It's just way out of line. Imagine a football field. The first half of it is access. The second half of it is security or integrity. And what we did during COVID-19 is we moved that ball from the 50-yard line all the way down to the goal line with it being complete access. And by that I'm saying with the mail-in votes, with some states doing the drop boxes, the same-day registration, letting you couldn't prosecute, or the proposal under S1 is you can't prosecute somebody for voting illegally, a non-citizen for voting, that they can vote in the wrong precinct. I mean, it's total access. So in Michigan, the Secretary of State said, let's count all the votes. There's a presumption that all votes will be counted. Well, if you haven't done the list maintenance and you haven't done signature verification and address verification, well, that's total access. But some of those might fall outside the bounds of the law and what is a legal vote. If somebody's double voting or voting who's not a citizen and so forth, you shouldn't count all votes, you should count all legal votes. And so what S1 is trying to do is trying to codify or put into law all those things that they did during the 2020 election using COVID as the excuse, and now trying to make that legal. And so it would skew the balance of access versus security. So to shift back here to West Virginia, we were in the very top. MIT just did a study that showed the best elections, the confidence in the elections, and so forth. And West Virginia was right at the top of that. The states that were at the bottom of that were the Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, the ones you've heard so many problems about, Arizona. Those were at the very bottom because there was very low confidence in the outcome, because they went outside the rule of law. They went outside what the legislature had given them power to do, and these secretaries made these judgment calls, and that's why you're having so many problems. So now President Trump labeled that all as fraud. I don't go so far as to say it's fraud. I say these are irregularities, and in some cases maybe improprieties. It may have been improper, but the only person that can make that call, or the right people to make this call, are our courts. And that's what we're going through right now in Arizona and Michigan and various other places. And if a court decides that they were improper, now that sets the standard or the precedent for secretaries like me across the United States to say in 2022 and 2024, here's what you can do and here's what you can't do. So that's why I think we need to get to some of these cases through courts to make the determination as to whether these calls made by
Where do you think, Mac, West Virginia we modified our access a lot, and our procedures a lot. The governor enabled that under his executive powers, but our state elections went off pretty well. We didn't have any problems. So what's wrong with expanding access on a regular basis, just as we did during the election on the pandemic, so that more people have an opportunity to vote? What's wrong with that?
Our governor made that call to move the election, and so that provided access, because what it did, those extra 28 days gave us an opportunity to get PPE, the personal protective equipment, out to the precincts. Without that, people would have been reluctant to go to the polls. That would have cut off access. So by moving that, the goal line, moving the election date 28 days, opened up that access. But I don't think we should make that a regular occurrence to change, because it's in statute. In the West Virginia Code, it's when the primary election will be held and so on. The other was the sending out the absentee applications, which was a big deal, around the state for a while. But everybody understood. They had changed the rules as to who could vote absentee. We changed it in concert with the Attorney General's office, saying that COVID-19 was a medical excuse, and medical excuse is one of the things in code that allows people to vote absentee. So to inform everybody, because this decision was made last week, literally the week before we needed to start getting ballots and everything in the mail and that sort of thing, we decided to send those out to everybody. So yes, that provides access, but I don't think that the code doesn't provide that we send applications out to everybody. It says that to request an absentee ballot, you have to have a reason, and the person needs to request it. So we sent the applications, but people circled COVID-19. That was their request to ask for that ballot. So you can see we stayed within the law that the legislature had set for West Virginia. I didn't make arbitrary decisions.
No,
like they did
I
in
understand
Georgia
that, and,
Pennsylvania.
and you're absolutely right, and that's why I said it was done to a large extent because the governor had the executive power, emergency powers he used to do some of this stuff. I get that. This was very specific to the pandemic year. But the fact that we did have increased access, that some counties did send out ballots to everybody, and some of the easier access things that did occur, we didn't have any gigantic problems in the state, did we, because of the increased access?
We didn't, but who knows what is out there? And if we want to change it, go to the legislature and let's change it. But let's not make that.
Well, that's my point. That's why I'm with you. I'm with you on that. It ought to be done by the law, by the statute, and I'm with you, I guess. But that's kind of what Congress is trying to do, is to modify this by changing the law. So I'm trying to get, first of all, what's wrong with the system that we used this past year? We had much easier mail-in ballots. It led, correct me if I'm wrong, and if I'm serious, correct me. We actually had a significantly higher percentage of people voting this year, didn't we?
We did, and you can't attribute it simply to the changes in the access. You also had very energized candidates, both either voting for or against. And one in particular, I think President Trump was a galvanizing figure. Either people loved him and got out to vote for him, or people got out to vote against him. So that was something that I think I may have shared this with you before, but Bill Gardner, the Secretary of State of New Hampshire, has been there for 45 years, longest-serving Secretary of State in the nation. And he advised me one time, he said, Mac, it's not your job to get people out to vote. It's your job to run a fair election. It's the candidate's job, the campaign's job, the party's job to get people out to vote. So I give the credit to the parties and the candidates and so on to energize people to get out to vote. I just simply worked with the clerks, making it easy for people to vote. And we're still doing the cleanup afterwards. We still have to run some checks with fellow states to see if there was double voting and that sort of thing. So this is an ongoing, an iterative process. It never ends.
But we don't have any indication there was any significant double voting, right? I mean, I get that you say you're still running checks and other states are. We don't have any indication of any significant kinds of fraud during the last election. Certainly not in West Virginia or even elsewhere, as far as I know.
You're correct, but we need to keep that checks and balances in the system, and S1 blows those out of the water.
Well, tell me what's wrong specifically with S1. Let's talk about that. What is wrong with Senate Bill 1?
Ballot harvesting, that you can just pick up as many ballots as you want. And do you think that somebody may decide, well, I know that person isn't at my party and might drop that ballot in a trash can somewhere or do something else with it? The mail-in ballots, again, and no signature verification, that's in the bill. It says you can't check the signatures. It says that you can't prosecute somebody who votes illegally. That if a non-citizen votes, that vote has to count. They have same-day registration where you can go and register in one place and vote, go to another place, register and vote, go to a third place and register and vote, and all three of those votes count. Now, it's illegal, but you have to count those votes. There are just a number.
Do we have examples of that? But, Mac, my question is, I have a hard time believing, by the way, that you can't declare an illegal vote illegal, but I'll pass on that for the moment.
It's in S1. I'll send you the language. It's in there.
Do we have examples of people trying to do that, going from one precinct to another precinct to another precinct? Or is this just it's just something we get, well, maybe it could happen someday. Has it actually happened?
It has in other states. Pennsylvania's got 3 people they've already convicted for double voting. So we've had it here in West Virginia. We've had people who have voted in both Kentucky and West Virginia. We've had people who voted in Mon County and Marion County. We had a non-citizen who we caught who had registered, and we took it away and said, no, you can't register. He went to DMV and registered anyway and voted. So it does happen. And I know it's not massive, but it doesn't have to be massive. And you're familiar with the Harper's Ferry case where the city council, it was determined on 4 votes, and when it was checked, it overturned a seat or 2 on that city council, and a $139 million project was in the balance as to whether the candidates that supported it or didn't support it got elected. So just a couple of votes. It doesn't have to be massive just a couple of votes can make major differences, especially in small town elections.
Mac, you're concerned, and I don't understand this, so I want you to help me with this one, that that S1 would make it more difficult for overseas military to vote. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. It wipes away all the progress West Virginia's done with allowing people, not only military, but voters with disabilities, to vote electronically. It expressly prohibits that. Says we can't do that anymore. And so telling you,
I don't understand. How does it expressly prohibit people from voting electronically?
It says no electronic transmission of ballots. That's in S1.
Okay.
And back
All
to
right.
the same-day registration, it mandates this internet connectivity, and I think we all know in West Virginia, not every precinct has internet connectivity. So that's where I'm saying somebody can go and register and vote, and if you're not connected to the internet, that precinct can't talk back to Charleston, it can't talk to other precincts, so when somebody does go to the next, from Mon County to Marion County to register to vote, there's no way to stop it. And so the bill was written without consultation of either the county clerks or the National Association of Secretaries of State, people like me, who would have told them, hey, it may sound good, but in practicality, it doesn't work. We don't have broadband connectivity throughout West Virginia. So this requirement that we implement this, it's all access, but it doesn't have any security component to balance that out.
What else concerns you about S1?
Well, how much time do we have? It's just
Let's try to keep it short, but I do want to hear some of your other concerns.
it allows people 16 years old to register to vote. It requires every time you come in contact, not just DMV, but any state or government agency, that you will be registered to vote. So if somebody goes to West Liberty to register for college, they're automatically registered to vote. They go to get an unemployment check, they get registered to vote. They go to, any contact you have with the state or government agency, that agency now has to register you to vote. The problem with that is the security aspect. They have to gather that personal identification information and transport it safely back here to the state so we can get it to the clerks so those people can be properly registered. But their systems are not designed to pass along that personal information and register everybody to vote. That's the automatic voter registration aspect of S1. And so again, the clerks, let me tell you this, there are 55 county clerks in West Virginia. Not a one of them supports S1. And this is one of the reasons why. Those voter rules, and once you get on the voter list, you never come off. It prohibits what we've just done, where we've taken off over 330,000 names in West Virginia since I've been in office. And it would prohibit us from taking those names off the voter registration lists. That's what the clerks are really...
Doesn't it prohibit you from taking them off purely because they have not voted in recent elections? I mean, if someone is voting, if someone is registered in 2 states, you can take them off, right? Or other form. I believe the argument is that you can't just say, since somebody hasn't voted in X number of elections, we're going to take them off the rolls because maybe they choose not to vote in those elections, but might choose to vote in the future. I think I've got that right.
I'll have to check on the specifics of that, but their intent is that the person themselves would have to take them off. So yes, if they moved to another state and asked if they could take off, certainly the clerk could. But the clerk can't take them off the rolls once they're under S1. It prevents list maintenance from occurring.
All right, they're going to start they're going to hold a hearing on this, I think, starting next week, right?
Well, I've already been to Washington to testify on this. They're holding a vote, I understand, next Tuesday, the Senate is. And so, and that's for it to come out of committee to take it to the floor. So if it comes out of committee, and I have no doubt that it will, since the Democrats are in charge of the committee, they're in the majority now. I'm pretty sure it'll probably get out of committee and go to the floor, and then sometime, probably later in the summer, the Senate will actually vote on it.
As Secretary of State in West Virginia, if S1 were to become law, could you make it work? I mean, if that becomes the law and it's now your responsibility to work with it, could you make it work?
That's my job. I'm part of the executive branch, and when the legislature passes it, whether it's national or the state, then yes, we will find we'll do our best we can. Like I said, with the internet, I can't make that happen. We'll do the best
Right.
we can. The other important piece of this is Senator Joe Manchin is against it. He has spoken against it. He understands the problems with S1. He's been a Secretary of State. He knows he's worked with the clerks. He knows that not one clerk in West Virginia is in favor of this. So he at least has spoken against it. And he's also, there's not just the S1, but there's the filibuster. The Democrat leadership is trying to use S1 as the way to bust the filibuster so that they can pass not only this but other legislation. And again, Senator Manchin has spoken against busting the filibuster. He understands the importance of it. He sits in the Robert C. Byrd seat that, Robert Byrd was such a constitutionalist and understood the importance of the filibuster. And Senator Manchin told me himself, I sat in his office for about 45 minutes, and he explained that he's been in the majority, he's been in the minority, and he understands that the Senate needs to be the saucer on the coffee cup that allows the coffee to cool. And you just don't go with the passions of the moment. Right now, this is a very passionate thing. It's why it's the number one bill in the House, the number one bill in the Senate. And he said in the House, if you just have a one-vote majority, you get it passed. He said we can't do that in the Senate. We have to allow the debate on both sides, and you have to have that 60-vote majority to pass something over top of the objection of the minority. And so he doesn't want to be the one. He doesn't want his legacy to be the senator who broke the Senate filibuster and made the Senate just like the House. Just one vote difference can swing major legislation. He doesn't. He understands next year there are a number of senators up for election, and if they all of a sudden become in the minority, he wants to once again, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. He wants to be able to have that filibuster to work on his side of the aisle. And so I respect Senator Manchin in that regard. If
he's been very firm. I mean, he's very clear about the filibuster. He's not going to vote to change it. And as long as he doesn't, it's not going to get changed. And by the way, I agree with him. The fear is, it's only a one vote margin right now. It's real easy for that margin to switch the other way. So I agree with him that it's not the right time to change it. And I think some Democrats are hoping that S1 would be the bill that would get him to change his mind. But if you're telling me that he's already opposed to S1, I think you're home free, aren't you?
Well, let's see. I mean, this hasn't played out to its fullest, and as he usually does, Senator Manchin is looking for if there's middle ground. The problem is the Democrats themselves have labeled this as transformational legislation, and usually in transformational legislation, you're not looking for middle ground. You're looking to transform the way we run elections. And so back to one of your earlier questions, I don't want the federal government telling us how to run elections in West Virginia because we do it differently than Oregon. Oregon sends out ballots to everybody. If you're on the list, you get a ballot sent to you automatically. There are only about 5 states that do it that way. But I don't want that to become the federal legislation that imposes that on the other 45 states to make us all do the same way that Oregon runs its elections. And I'm sure there are other states that don't want to be told to run their elections the way West Virginia does. By way of example, we have an excuse absentee system. There are about 15 states like West Virginia that say to get an absentee ballot, you have to have a reason for it. That's security that we talked about. Well, the other 35 states don't want to be told that you have to have an excuse to request an absentee ballot. So there are different customs and cultures in each of the states. That's what the state legislature's job is to do, is to respond to the will of the people in their state. And I think we have 50 different systems around the United States to run elections. That in itself provides security against Russian interference. It's harder to hack 50 different systems than just one system. So I think we need to leave the elections well enough alone and leave it up to the state legislatures.
Mac, I appreciate you joining us today, as I always do. Good conversation, and we shall see what happens next week. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Always good talking with you, Howard.
All right, appreciate it. Secretary of State in West Virginia, Mac Warner, with us this morning. He is distinctly opposed to S1. I'm looking for the phrase he used. Wasn't vehemently. There's a line that he used here in his recent op-ed. Anyway, he's aggressively opposed to the changes there. We shall see how this whole thing plays out. All right, 8:41, 19 to the hour. Well, dramatically behind time. Got time to take care of a couple quick pieces of business. A few odds and ends I want to get to. Next hour, McCabe and I will kick around the Ohio Valley News Week in review. We're looking at 43 degrees still. Let me double check that real quick. Yep, 43 degrees, still raining outside, and 43 at the airport here at my home studios, and at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Check in for some headlines, and conversation will continue.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your local news headline.
Oh, yes. All right. Well, just pick one. Pick one and we'll announce it. Who's there? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And is there another? I think there's another short Mother's Day montage from Wise Brothers. I'm looking to see. What did we play before? 14? Is there another one on? I don't have my sheet in front of me. I'm looking for something to intro the segment with, some kind of Mother's Day intro. We use Queen, right? Before. Yeah, let's just use something. Just when we come back, use that as our intro, and then we'll. I have a couple other Mother's Day things we can talk about. We'll pull a winner, and that'll be just about all the time. And I have to do another fan duel, and then we'll be done for the segment. Yep. Yep. Right. Please. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad.
Can't do it alone, and we.
Happy Friday, everybody. This Sunday is Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
All right, give your mother a kiss or I'll kick your teeth in.
Hey, shut up. You're not my real mom.
You know you love the weekend.
Your mother was a hamster.
It's Mother's Day, and children.
Hey, this Sunday is Mother's Day. Now, if you haven't got your mom a gift yet, can't go wrong with a gallon of gasoline, huh? It's a little pricey, but hey, you only got one mom, you know?
Don't talk dirty. What does Mama say about little boys who talk dirty?
Calm down, Mama's boy.
Teddy, what are you doing here? Teddy, come on in. Come on in, buddy.
I lost my first tooth.
You lost a tooth? Let me see. Oh, Teddy.
Yeah.
Give you a big hug.
He's here today. It fell in my lips.
What, honey? It fell in your lips?
My lips. But then I got it out of my lips.
Did you save it?
Then I put it on like a spin anything.
Yeah? And are you going to leave her the tooth fairy for tonight?
Yeah.
He's only going to get $1, right?
7.
I think
7 is right. 7 is the right amount.
He's here today.
Why?
Meltdown. Because of the tooth.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I went down to get him and he could come out.
Okay. All right.
Okay, here you go.
Teddy, little hug, buddy.
Good. It's in the pocket. Go get Granddaddy a hug.
I can't believe you lost your first tooth. Oh. Love you, buddy.
What if I get 100?
Oh.
When all my teeth.
When all your teeth come out,
What if
baby.
they all came out at the same time?
Oh, that would be bad. That would be very bad.
Okay, Teddy lost a tooth, so. Yeah, it's first one, so. He came down to show me his gap teeth.
The Ohio Valley would like to welcome Airgas USA to the tri-state area, your one-stop shop for all your welding and safety needs. Airgas is the United States' largest distributor of industrial, medical, and specialty gases and related equipment, products, and services. Airgas carries more than 36,000 safety and welding products. Check out airgas.com with free ship to store on over 200,000 items. Or stop in to see us at 2208 Warwood Avenue. Mention this ad for an additional 20% off your first purchase. Some exclusions apply.
Washington County's largest gun show is back on Saturday and Sunday, June 19th and 20th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Washington County Fairgrounds. Admission is $7 and kids under 12 get in free with an adult. Everyone is welcome. They offer free appraisals and have great prices on all types of firearms, modern, military, and antique. They have over 450 tables with cash buyers on site for your used guns. Visit arhsportshop.com or you can give them a call at 724-948-3571 for more information. That's 724-948-3571 for more information. It's the Washington County Gun Show, presented by ARH Sports Shop, June 19th and 20th.
The Watchdog prides itself in being involved in our community, and we want to hear from you. Does your organization have an event that you would like promoted on the radio? Please send us the details via our website, watchdognetwork.com. Just click on our contact page and fill the information. Live, local, and here for our community. Share your events with the Watchdog.
Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Happy Friday, everybody. This Sunday is Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. All right, give your mother a kiss and I'll kick your teeth in.
Hey, shut up. You're not my real mom.
You know you love the weekend.
Your mother was a hamster.
It's Mother's Day, and you're ruining it.
Hey, this Sunday's Mother's Day. Now, if you haven't got your mom a gift yet, can't go wrong with a gallon of gasoline, huh? It's a little pricey, but hey, you only got one mom, you know?
Don't talk dirty. What does Mama say about little boys who talk dirty?
Calm down, mama's boy.
Tie your mama down? I'm not so sure about that, but all right, okay. 8:51, 9 before the hour here on this Friday edition of the show. Friday before Mother's Day. Let me tell you, it's 43 degrees outside and raining. We're going to see rain throughout the morning this morning. Maybe some stormy activity later in the day today. Temps only up to mid-50s, maybe 56 or so. Tomorrow, pretty much the same. Sunday, unfortunately, Mother's Day is going to be kind of a dark, dreary, excuse me, and rainy day. So be prepared to live with that. A couple Mother's Day things I want to do, including giving away our Mother's Day buffet for River City. We didn't get a chance to do that this week because I ended up getting sick on the day I would have normally given it away, and so I apologize for that. Biffy, a new study looked at Google searches to figure out what Mother's Day brunch food is the most popular in every state. Want to guess? There's one that is big in 21 separate states, the number one breakfast food. You want to guess what it is? It's a brunch food, if you will.
Eggs.
Actually, eggs are not, they're much further down on the list than you might think. Sausage, number one, in 21 states.
What about sausage, gravy, and biscuits?
There we go, baby. Now we're talking. Pancakes, French toast, and waffles were all number one in 10 of the different individual states. Breakfast booze, like Bloody Marys or mimosas, number one in 5 states.
I could see that.
That makes sense for a Mother's Day, buffet or Mother's Day brunch is a mimosa. I love the mimosas. Let's see. Pennsylvania and Ohio, our neighboring states, are both sausage, number one. They're among they're in that's the biggest category. West Virginia is not a sausage state. Yeah, we're the cinnamon roll. Cinnamon roll is the number. Oh boy, cinnamon roll sounds good though.
That does sound good right now.
That sounds really good right now, actually. A cinnamon roll would be very good, at least I think. Breakfast meat led by sausage, number one in 21 states. Sausage, the number one of those breakfast meats. Bacon comes in at number 2. Pancakes, French toast, waffles, number 1 in 10 states. Cinnamon rolls, West Virginia is a cinnamon roll state, won 4 states, and so did omelets.
I was going to say we haven't even gotten to the omelets yet.
Yeah, omelets, which those are kind of your eggs, so I agree. 5 states where booze are what people are looking forward to. Bloody Marys were 4 states. Mimosas won 1. I like both a Bloody Mary and a mimosa, although when I think of a Mother's Day brunch, I think more of mimosas, than Bloody Marys. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to have either one. They're both good.
I would think the moms would have the mimosas and the fathers would have the Bloody Marys.
Yeah, you might be right about that. And oh my God, I can't believe this. It's got to be the least exciting answer from what you tend to think of as an exciting state. This state that I'm about to mention has some of the best restaurants in the world in its major city. It is a culinary paradise, everything from pizza to high-end cuisine in their big city. And the brunch food people look forward to the most in New York is oatmeal.
That is weird.
You gotta be kidding me. I mean, it's New York State, but if you think about New York City and all of the culinary choices you have there, wonderful brunches. Everything from the omelets to the eggs to, just everything. Oatmeal?
Wouldn't have guessed that.
Hey, let's take Mom to breakfast and get her some oatmeal. That does not work well for me. But anyways, New York has, oatmeal was its number one brunch food for Mother's Day brunches. Now, it's not a brunch buffet this Sunday at River City, but it is a Mother's Day buffet extravaganza. River City in downtown Wheeling is featuring slow roasted carved sirloin, honey glazed carved ham, seafood, pasta bar, salad bar, dessert bar, cakes, pastries, cookies, fruit, a whole lot more, all on the buffet extravaganza for Mother's Day this Sunday at River City. Doors open at 11. It is, doesn't say how long it goes on, but I guess all day long, obviously. Adults $22.99, under 12 $11.99. Call for reservations 233-4555, 233-4555 for the Mother's Day buffet extravaganza at River City. However, one of you does not have to call for reservations. because you are the winner of our $50 gift certificate to River City. You can get yourself, for yourself and your mom, a buffet and enjoy it at River City, courtesy of River City and the Watchdog. Brother Biff, who do we have? You got them all ready there in the bin, so to speak?
There's the bin right there.
All right, we did a couple of these. Big Rick had his own contest in the afternoon. He picked his groups. We had here on the show, I think we did Mother's Day trivia one day. We did your favorite sitcom mom one day. We got you all registered, so we've put them all in the big bin. And Biff is now about to draw the winner of our Mother's Day buffet extravaganza at River City. Drum roll, please.
Here we go.
And the winner is...
Me. Oh, no, just kidding.
No. We've talked about that. Come up with a fake name if you're going to do that. No, that's not it. Let's try this again. And the winner is...
Denny Lucas.
Denny, okay.
Yes.
Denny, we got a $50 gift certificate for River City for you. If you are listening right now, just call Biff at 232-8255, and Biff can tell you how to pick it up. And if not, we'll get in touch with you at some point during the day today. But enjoy your Mother's Day buffet extravaganza at River City, courtesy of our good fine friends at River City and the Watchdog. Now, since you didn't win, the rest of you can go down and buy a nice Mother's Day buffet at River City for Mother's Day. So enjoy that. Didn't get I wanted to talk about whether or not Mother's Day was a real holiday or not. What do you think, Biffy? Is Mother's Day a real holiday or a made-up holiday?
I think it's a real holiday.
Yeah, I think so too. It is a made-up holiday. I mean, it's not like Christmas or Thanksgiving that comes from an organic historical event. But I think it has taken on the tinge of a real holiday. I think we truly celebrate Mother's Day as a real holiday. 60% of the 2,000 people who were surveyed in a recent poll say that it is a real special occasion. 30% say they celebrate it more because of pressure from commercial entities. And I mean, there's no question it was created to be a card selling day, but I think it has become a real holiday. So, little Mother's Day conversation here on the Watchdog Morning Show. 9 o'clock, McCabe and I kicking around some of the news and review next hour.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
The U.S. economy added...
All right, should be McCabe next hour.